So this is for you if you want to get more clients. What's going on, everyone? Hey, Healthpreneurs. Duriel Kim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. Welcome to this special training. So this is for you if you want to get more clients. This is for you if you're a health expert and you've been trying everything and you're still not getting the traction that you feel you deserve. So this training I'm calling the Client Activator, and let me share with you why. So we're calling this the Client Activator. Whole idea is I'm going to share with you guys a 3-prong approach to helping you guys get more clients. Because if you can't get clients into your business, then you're not going to have much of a business. I talk a lot about, if you have an income problem, you really have an incoming problem. And what that means is you don't have enough clients coming in, which means your income is not where you want it to be. So let's fix that once and for all. Before I dive in, there's a book, like a book that is associated with this concept. If you want a free copy of it, just type Activate into the comments below and we'll send you a DM with the download to the book. Cool. It's going to give you everything we're going through here in more depth, maybe. And there's also a really cool scorecard in the book that's going to help you score your business and your marketing with respect to the stuff we're talking about in this training. So let's dive in. So there's going to be 3 things that we're talking about here. When you get these 3 dialed in, you obviously make more money. And when I say make more money, guys, remember, we're always talking about impacting lives, transforming people's health. As a reflection of that, you're making more money in your business. So there are 3 fundamental things you have to have dialed in order for your marketing to be dialed in, AKA get clients. So I'm going to dive in, I should say. And I call these the 3 M's. First off is we have your market. Now, your market, actually, you know what? Let me do this. I'll lay them out for you and then I'll break them down one by one. So first is market. Second is your message. And third is the magic. Okay, so those are the 3 M's you have to have dialed in. So let me scroll up a little bit and show you the prettier version of this drawing, shall we? So what we're going to do here is I'm going to just focus there. I call this the triad of influence, right? You get these things dialed in. This is where most of the stuff happens in your business or falls through the cracks. Okay, so I'm going to just highlight these one by one as we go. Step number 1 is this right here. In choosing your market, and I've talked about this before, you must select a single, not 5, not 2, single target market that ideally is seeking a solution now. That is the first most important decision you can make in your business. And I want to share an example with you from one of our client conversations that I had with our clients yesterday. So we have a client who focuses on shoulder pain. And she said, and we give our clients some really great frameworks to help them really zero in on their perfect client. And she said, okay, well, I'm thinking of helping people with shoulder pain who have had an acute injury, like they fell and hurt their shoulder. And now they have to have rehab, maybe it was a Fuchs injury, maybe it was, rotator cuff, whatever it was. And I said, great, right? If that's the perfect client and they happen to walk into a clinic, great. But how do you find those people? How do you find those people on Facebook? Because that's essentially what we're talking about, is how do you put a message proactively in front of an audience to the best of your ability, knowing that they're looking for a solution? Because the challenge with that demographic, that single target market, although it is singular, here's the challenge, is that yesterday they didn't have the problem, today they do. And there's no way of targeting those people on Facebook other than going general broad. When I say general broad, I'm talking like let's say men and women 40 to 60 who live in the US or Canada. And then your messaging, which we'll get into in a second, is going to have to do most of the heavy lifting to find those people out of the billions of people on Facebook. And then Facebook's algorithm is going to work its magic to bring more of those people to you. Now that definitely can happen. Okay. So my suggestion was this. I said, listen, that's fine, right? Is it okay if I play devil's advocate and give you a different option? Assuming you're not opposed to working with this group of people. So I said, as a potential single target market, okay, alternative, shoulder pain, okay, still staying with the same issue. But now let's think about who might be most likely to be the best clients and who could you produce the best results for? Someone who this just happened to them, or someone who has proactively been doing things that this may have been precipitated by. So I said, the first three things that come to mind when I think of shoulder pain is tennis, swimming, and volleyball or baseball, right? A lot of repetitive overhead motion. So I just said, okay, let's just use an example of one of those, right? Tennis. I play a lot of tennis. I've had shoulder issues. Here's the difference, is that because I love playing tennis, I proactively want to fix and improve my shoulder. And the thing I suggested to her was this: you want to be looking for clients who are looking for a coach, not a savior. And a lot of times when people have stuff done to them, like they slipped on ice, these are the typical insurance patients that walk into a clinic. And I'm making a generalization here, but generally, those who are more proactive, who have an active lifestyle, who are already doing things they're passionate about, are more likely to be coachable to do the work necessary to improve their situation. So that's the first thing. The second thing I said, it's a whole lot easier to find people on Facebook who like tennis, because no one likes shoulder pain because I slipped on the ice. You're never going to find that. But you can target people who are interested in tennis. Now, does every single person interested in tennis have a shoulder issue? No. But knowing that the likelihood that many of those players or fans who probably play might have shoulder pain because of all the serving, etc., gives us a better opportunity to possibly find more of those clients. So this is, and I said, guys, we're going to spend a bit of time on this because this is the most important decision outside of your business model that's going to make or break your business. Right? Like the ability, like as an example, one of the markets I would advise against, in my experience, is anxiety. And here's why. We've worked with a number of clients and they've gone the anxiety route and it just hasn't worked. And part of the reason is that, and we see this over and over again, they get people on the phone who can't make decisions because they're riddled with the very thing that our client is supposed to help them solve, which is the anxiety. It becomes this whole kind of like meta inception type of thing where it's like, because they have anxiety, they can't make a decision about helping them get through the anxiety. And we've not seen that to work. Now, take the anxiety to panic attacks, different story. So the selection of your single target market is very, very important. Okay, so that's the first step, and I hope that makes sense. Okay, so step number 2 is right here. Are we solving a major pain or problem? A major pain or problem. So one of our copy coaches talks about, are you solving the bleeding neck or the stubbed toe? You want to go for the bleeding neck. Let me give you 2 examples of this. You have fanatical markets where it's not so much pain, it's more desire-based, but there's still pain there because there's a gap, and I'll explain that in a second. And then there's the full-on, I just have a frustration that I want to get rid of. So fanatical markets are like golf and tennis, like very enthusiastic type of markets. And I'm just using 2 examples, but there are many. My brother plays golf like it's going out of style. He'll drop thousands of dollars on golf clubs, course fees, all sorts of stuff just so he can play. Now, do you think that if you had a solution that could help him improve his golf game, like drive longer, putt better, whatever, he might be interested? You better believe it. Now, at the same time, you have the opposite side of the market, which is, let's just use weight loss as an example. Weight loss is not like, it's not really an enthusiastic market, although there are subsections of weight loss, like people who love working out, like the gym rats, etc. But let's just use weight loss as an example. Women who want to lose the last 10 pounds. That's a frustrated market. They're in pain. They want to get out of it. Now, Is that a bleeding neck problem? It's all relative, right? Because for some women, losing the last 10 pounds is their obsessive focus. And for them, it's a major problem. For others, they're like, no, no big deal. So remember that there's context and relativity in all of this stuff. But you have to understand that any market in health and fitness and wellness, for the most part, is going to have a bleeding neck problem, for the most part. So let's look at a couple examples. Skin issues, 100%. So acne, eczema, psoriasis, major, major, major pain. The way we look is a very strong motivator. So if you have a specialty in that area, and I'm not saying like jump into these areas because they're opportunistic. No, you focus on what you're amazing at doing. That's what it comes down to. But listen, if you help with knee pain, we have clients that do very well helping people with a very specific type of knee pain or arthritis specifically. We have a client that's crushing it with plantar fasciitis, right? Plantar fasciitis. I remember, so here's an example. Here's one of our clients, chiropractor, moving from the clinic to virtual. Her initial idea, her initial market was helping women who are pregnant get rid of back pain. And that didn't work for her. And the reason, number one, is I don't think she had full conviction that she could help people virtually with that. Number two, I think the market felt that it was transient. Oh, when I give birth, it's going to go away. And that didn't really help her. So you can see how choosing your target market and building everything around that can literally make or break your business. And so we went back to the drawing board and I said, listen, do some thinking on this and then really think about who do you know you can help without a shadow of a doubt and where do you have the most expertise? So she came back a little while later and she said plantar fasciitis. And as soon as she said that, I was like, that is a home run idea right there. Why? Because plantar fasciitis, every single time you take a step, it reminds you of how much pain you're in. You want it done, gone now. So these are examples, guys, of going after pains or problems. Nobody wants to improve their vitality. No one wants to have a total life transformation. Those are all like nice concepts, but where they're going to spend the money is on the pain, the problem that is in like top of their mind, in front of their face every single second of the day. You go there, that's half the battle, okay? So that is major pain or problem. And then the third one here, very simply, is plan to dominate. Plan to become the best at what it is you do. And this really comes from, I believe it's Procter & Gamble. They basically have a philosophy where they don't enter a market unless they can dominate it. Unless they can be the number one player or the number two player in a market, they don't enter it. They've got $17 billion brands. So, we're not Procter & Gamble, but the same idea applies. It's like, if you're going to go after something and spend your time and energy doing something, plan to be the best at that. Because the amount of effort and time you're going to put into it, you might as well. Like there's no sense in being like second fiddle. So plan to dominate, and it's very hard to dominate 5 things. It's very easier to dominate one thing, right? It's easier to become a cardiac surgeon than a cardiac and a brain surgeon and an orthopedic surgeon. You know what I'm saying? So plan to be the best in a specific niche. Be known for the market, like in the market, as the best in whatever. One of our clients, Dana, is just like the person when it comes to helping families with kids who have ADHD. That's all she does. And she's amazing at it. And she's doing very well. Like 6 figures a month, very well. Okay. So that is the first part, which is markets. Now, the second piece I want to talk about here is message. Now, before I get into that, I want to highlight this. When you cross the markets, when you look at the intersection between your market and your message, what ends up happening is you build something called KLT, which is know, like, and trust. When you put a message in front of the right market consistently and over again, that builds know, like, and trust. And the more people know, like, and trust you, the easier it's going to be for them to do business with you. Okay? So let's talk about what messaging means. First and foremost, right here, this is the biggest right there. It says, if you can read that, it says clear. Clear messaging. Clear messaging. I mean, I look at, guys, I'm looking at websites, marketing, funnels, landing pages, ads, everything, every single day, our stuff, our client stuff. And on our client calls, I might ask, like, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand what that means. Here's an example. One of our clients was showing me her ads in our call yesterday. So we had a split test running. So she had same copy, 2 different images. And I said, well, that one's doing a lot better. What's the difference? Oh, it's the image. Let me have a look at the first image. And I asked her, I'm like, why is there so there was her and a big frog, like a statue of a big frog. And I'm like, I'm not too enamored by frogs. Maybe that's why it's not doing too well, because most people aren't either. I said, why the frog? And she said, well, the frog symbolizes cleansing. And I'm like, I had no idea. I've been in this space for almost 20 years. I had no clue about that. Do you think that most other people would know about that? No. So the goal with your messaging is to be extremely clear. And the easiest way to interpret this is think of it this way. It should be impossible to misunderstand or misinterpret your messaging. 2 people looking at your message should basically have the same conclusion of what it means. If you have 2 people, 5 people, 10 people all coming up with different representations of what it means, your messaging is unclear. I help women between 30 and 35 lose the last 10 pounds. That's clear. That's clear. I help women transform their life. What the F does that mean? Like, we talking about health, body, relationships, business? I don't even know. So you have to be super clear, because here's the thing. As soon as we get people to have to use their brain, and this is how it shows up in life. I'm going to give you a couple examples. When the brain has to be used, like what happens is, and I don't know if you feel this way, but I do. So let me just explain what I'm saying first. When we see something that is confusing, right away, the fight or flight response kicks in at a very subliminal level, right? We're not even aware of it. But what it means is that it's too much effort. And all of a sudden we have to use glucose. The brain has to use glucose to solve this problem, which is what's going on here. And literally from a survival perspective, we're out of here, because I don't want to use glucose from my brain to figure this out, because I might need it to run away. It literally, that's what this comes down to. Here's how this also shows up in your marketing. Clarity, okay? Look at the design of apple.com. Look at their website, apple.com. Actually, you know what? Let's pull it up just as an example, just in case you haven't been there recently. Look at how clean and clear this is, okay? Very clean, very clear, okay? And there's a reason for that, because when we have pages that have a lot of clutter on them and a lot of text from coast to coast, it like our eye has to do this. It's too overwhelming. We're tuning out. We're gonzo. And if that's what's happening with your marketing, not even from a formatting and layout perspective, but just with your words, and people have to figure out what's happening, they're gone. So think about this. Your messaging needs to be clear, and the way you lay out your messaging also needs to be clear. So if both of those are working against you, it's no wonder that conversions, go down. Or someone's like, well, I don't know. I don't understand exactly what that means. I don't exactly understand what it is you do. How are you different from other people that do the same thing? All of these tie into a very, very singular, clear message. And it's your goal to be able to articulate what you do in a very succinct, clear sentence at a minimum, so that people are like, oh, okay, cool. So that's the first piece. Second is vivid. Now this is going to, the vivid piece is going to apply a little bit more to, I would say, more the creative side. So if you're writing ads or emails or social posts, when I say vivid, I'm talking about using words that invoke images in people's mind. So when you write something, think about, am I invoking a certain imagery in this reader's mind? And we're just using the example of words typed for a second. Vivid can also mean, if you're shooting a video, be a little bit more vivid. Don't try to avoid, I mean, number one, just be yourself, okay? Try not to speak like this. Welcome, everyone. In today's training, I'm going to blow your mind and talk with you about the Client Activator. Let us begin. That's not vivid. I'm a little bit more animated when I speak. Okay. So for me, video is the easiest thing to do. I can bring vividness through hand gestures, body language, whatever, intonation to the videos. Same thing with your writing, right? Make sure it's vivid. Get people engaged. Whether it's, if you're writing stuff, use words that invoke images in their mind. And it's tough to explain this just in the space of this context, but if I had an actual example, which I probably should, I would probably make more sense there. But hopefully that makes sense. Just be a little bit more animated on video. If it's via text, use words that invoke images in someone's mind. So, okay, let me give you the example now. So imagine fitting into your skinny jeans. Okay, so hey, just imagine how good it's going to feel when you finally lose the weight and fit into your skinny jeans. So that's an example of, like, I would say a semi-vivid sentence. Like, you can see the image. Watch the difference now. Okay, so let's say I'm writing this. Imagine how great you feel when you walk into your closet. You open up that cupboard door that's been so daunting for many years, to pick out that favorite pair of skinny jeans that's been sitting there for the past 2 years. And finally, today, you tell that pair of jeans, today's the day. As you take them out of the cupboard, you slip in your left leg, and it seems to just glide over your leg, gliding right up your thigh above your hip, and then you glide the right leg in. And lo and behold, you're not even having, effortlessly doing up the button. Now, hopefully you get what I'm saying here. You're basically painting a picture where the person can see themselves in that scenario. I will be the first one to admit that I don't do this very well because I'm too lazy, but it doesn't serve me. Okay. So that's why I don't enjoy a lot of writing, because for me, it's more like start line, finish line. Let's just get there as fast as possible. I have to remind myself, hold on, slow down, take the scenic route, because it makes a big difference. So that is vivid. And the third piece of your messaging is it needs to be empathetic. So clear, vivid, and empathetic. Okay, so the one-word marketing plan. If I had to distill marketing down to one word, it would be empathy. If you can empathize with your market, your single target market, which means you know them better than they know themselves, and you can put communication in front of them where they're like, man, how does this person know so much about what I'm going through? You win. Because what marketing is not is, hey, look at my stuff. I'm so cool. I'm so well educated. I created 1 million hours of videos in this massive book. You're going to love it. No, I'm not. I don't even know what the hell it is, and you don't even know what I'm dealing with. This is a very common problem in the health space. I call it the curse of knowledge, where we're so knowledgeable that we forget about who we're even speaking to. It's almost like we're trying to, like the whole skyscraper technique, we're trying to make the bigger, better book, more videos, more content, without really thinking about what our clients need. And one of the things that I remind our clients of is, I'm like, you don't, like, your coaching program, it doesn't need to have 1 million hours of content. The best coaching program is going to have one quick video, one skill or habit they can build every week. That's it. So the person logs in, they see one video, like, they're going to pay me $5,000. You better believe it, because what they're not going to do is get overwhelmed. What they're going to do is they're going to have clear direction. They're going to know exactly what to do, and they're going to do it. And that comes down to being empathetic, which means you're focused on the client exclusively. Everything you do is focused and obsessed around your client, what their pains and frustrations are, what their wants and desires are. And you map everything out based on those. So that is what it's all about when we talk about messaging. Clear, vivid, empathetic. If this is making sense so far, guys, just give me a thumbs up. And if not, don't say anything. Okay, the final piece is magic. And before I get into this, your magic is your magic. It's your offer. It's what it is you're offering people. And this goes both free and paid. Okay. Now, when you have compelling messaging along with the right offer, with the right magic, what this does is it increases desire in your marketplace. Essentially, you have messaging that the market is like resonating with, and you have an offer, whether it's free or paid, that they now want because you understand the market, because you're an expert in it and you're empathetic and you've got clear messaging, etc. And you're putting something in front of them that they're like, oh my God, I need this. So let's dive into what the magic looks like. This, I'm going to okay, these guys are going to go blue because this is, I'll tell you this, guys. Each one of these 3 M's cannot work independently without the other 2. You can't drive a car on 2 flat tires, not even 1 flat tire. I mean, short term, but you're not going to get very far very fast. You cannot have a well-functioning business on 2 of the M's. You have to have all 3 of these dialed in. And I would say the single biggest place where most people drop the ball, honestly, it's really hard. Because I would say like all 3 of these are like 33% equally guilty in our space. People don't choose their single target market. They want to become generalist. Their messaging is unclear. It's vague. It's like, who's this for? And then their offer. The magic is just like, join my newsletter. No one wants to join your newsletter. Please take that off your website. Don't even mention it. Set it on fire. Have a bonfire around that. Okay. Your magic is the thing you are offering the marketplace. This could be a webinar, a lead magnet, a paid coaching program, a supplement. It doesn't matter. Anything you're asking someone to do. Opt in, do this, buy this, whatever. That's the magic. So the first thing is a tangible result. It must. And this ties in with your messaging. Your messaging has to be able to identify or articulate the tangible result. So when you are thinking about your coaching delivery, your program, what specifically is the client going to get? And I have this conversation with many of my clients who they don't want to be known as the weight loss person because they're like, their whole approach is more spiritual or mindful or whatever. I'm like, that's amazing. But guess what? No one cares about that yet. What they care about is how much weight am I going to lose? They don't care so much about how they're going to get there. They care about what they're going to get at the end. So never confuse your methodology, which we talked about last week in the proprietary process, right? 7 ways to differentiate. Never confuse that. Like, don't go so far down the rabbit hole there that you forget the outcome that your clients want. Listen, like I make this mistake sometimes too, because we're so close to our own stuff. So in our case, our proprietary process for the most part is our perfect client pipeline. It's what we recommend all of our clients to do. And it sounds like, it's the man with a hammer, everything's a nail, or vice versa. Again, depends on the context of the business. But for the most part, all of our clients who work with us are running perfect client pipelines. So I could talk about perfect client pipeline all the time and why it's better than the old way of social posting, etc., which by the way still has its place, but it's not going to produce results for the near future. But I always have to tie that back in with what the client wants. Why is a perfect client, like what specific tangible result are you going to get working with us or using a perfect client pipeline? You will get clients predictably, consistently, and largely on autopilot. That's the tangible result. Tangible result number 2 is you can build $1 million plus business in the next 6 to 36 months, working half as much. That's a tangible result, right? So we have to think about what the specific outcome, is. That's the first piece with the magic. Now, second component of the magic is this obviously has to be highly desirable. And remember, this goes back into here. Is it a major pain or problem? So, listen, do people want to lose weight? 100%. Does everyone want to lose weight? No. Even the people that do need to lose weight might not want to, right? So there's always going to be a subset of the market that is highly desired for this thing. And another subset that might be like, whatever. but you have to be offering something that's highly desirable. Total life transformation, man, lose the last 10 pounds in 30 days, 100%. Okay. You also have to think about and I think I've talked about this before, but you have to think about how you're delivering the results. Would people rather pop a pill or workouts? They'd rather pop a pill. So that's why supplements are a lot easier to sell than do the work. So when we talk about highly desirable, it's very important in the context of a higher price coaching program where people have to do the work to sell the crap out of something they desire very highly and let them know, by contrast, that they're not going to get there by doing the quick fixes and the easy pills because they've already been doing that and they don't have the results they want. So it builds desire for your solution. Make sense? And then the third piece is, if you can read this, your big idea. Okay, so the big idea is, it's a tricky one to explain, and it's a tricky thing to wrap your head around. The big idea can be a lot of different things, and your big idea can be the new way of doing things is better than the old way. Your big idea, like in our case, our big idea is how to scale a business online without the grind. As an umbrella, how do we do that? Perfect client pipeline. That's kind of our mechanism, big idea, all in one. Okay. The big idea is something that stands apart from what everyone else is saying. It partially like ventures into the world of your proprietary process, your unique method we talked about last week. And it's the one thing that really, it separates you. So for instance, we have clients who are killing it right now. Like it's insane. And their big idea is they help, and this is the craziest market, neuroplasticity for Christians. Like, now here's the big idea for Christians. That's why it's crushing it. Now their program is great and they're amazing at what they do, but the reason it's killing it is because their big idea is that they focus exclusively on Christians. And I'm not saying you have to do this or you don't have to do this with any religious, denomination, but you have to think of something that's going to make you a little bit different. That's the big idea. The big idea is something new. It's different. It's novel. It's unique. It's contrarian. It's polarizing. Right? And you have to shout that from the rooftops. And this goes into your messaging, but this also, we're talking specifically about the magic here, which is your offer. So again, in the context of our clients, they're selling a coaching program, which is neuroplasticity for Christians. That's specifically the big idea related to their offer. Okay. So if we zoom out, and I'll just come back to this. So we have our three things, our market message magic. The final thing I just want to point out is that when you have your magic and you're putting this into the marketplace, essentially what you want to have, what you're creating is a sense of novelty. You're introducing something new into the marketplace. Now, let me just clarify this. New doesn't mean like a brand new technology, something never, like people have never seen before. New can simply be like a new spin on something or doing things in a better way. That's what I mean by novelty, okay? Because if it's the same as everything else, then it's the same as everything else and people turn a blind eye to that. Novelty is a very powerful human driver. People love new. That's why car companies come out the same car in a new version every few years. It's the same car, just different lines. It's the same car with better sound, like whatever it is. The fact that it's new, people want it. It's a irrational driver of human behavior. So we have market message magic, single target market, major pain or problem, plan to dominate the market. Your messaging needs to be clear, vivid, and empathetic. It's all about them. It's clear. It can't be misunderstood. And the magic, your offer, needs to have a tangible result. It needs to be something they really, really want. And it needs to be wrapped in a big idea that get people thinking, my God, this is different, unique. I need to have this. So That, my friend, is how we look at marketing and client acquisition. It's not just about like the new Facebook post that's going to get you clients, or like, you do this social calendar on Instagram and you'll get clients. Because at the end of the day, what I'm sharing with you here is the engine, the fundamentals. Okay. Let me just put it this way. A lot of people talk. So this is a pyramid. A lot of people you see out there on the internet talk about tactics. And what I spend a lot of my time talking about here are fundamentals, or foundation, if you will, and strategy. And this is where it's won. Like, tactical band-aids, get this, tactical band-aids can never solve strategic problems. You can't get to the top of the pyramid if you don't have the foundation built, which is why most people in business struggle, because they don't take the time to build the skills necessary to make sense of the tactical implementations at the top. So I hope this makes sense. Once again, I have a book that we created around this topic. It's a short read. It's called The Client Activator. If you'd like a free copy, type activate into the comments. Inside that book, there's actually a scorecard. I think you'll find this really helpful. It's going to help you score. Let me see if I can just pull this up real quick so you can see this, so you know I'm not like making this stuff up. There we go. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so this is kind of a blurry version. This is the first one that came up in my Dropbox. So you can see here there's the three parameters: market, message, magic, all those all blurred out, with the 3 accelerators. And each one of them has 3 different categories that you can fall into. And so what you're going to do is you're going to score yourself in those different parameters. And then on the second page, which is somewhere here, basically is going to show you where you fall in terms of your client activator score and what you should do as a result of that score. So anyways, that's inside the book. If you want a copy of it, again, it's totally free, guys. If you guys don't know by now, listen, like, obviously, if we can serve you in some way, shape, or form in our coaching program, that's amazing. But if not, I'm happy to give you a ton of my best stuff for free, because that's just the way I do things, right? I want to provide you guys with so much value that even if you never worked with me, you'd be like, man, this is like game changing. So the Client Activator book, just type activate below. You'll have kind of a breakdown of everything we talked about, plus the scorecard. I think you'll find it really useful. And again, if you're enjoying this, let me know in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up, share this with whoever. And that's all for this week's deep dive tactical training. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Put this sucker to use. Evaluate your business along these 9 accelerators, these 3 fundamental pillars, and start to look at where there might be a gap in your business. Because if you can fix those, man, everything changes. All right, guys? Much love. Hope you've enjoyed this one, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.